Hello, everybody, and welcome along to Extremely Casual Gamers, a gaming podcast for the everyday gamer with Ellie, Chris, and Guy, minus the Ellie this week, which is why I sound a little bit deeper and huskier, because it's not Ellie.
Are you stoked to be back anchoring again?
Tell you what, I'm stoked to be back in this seat, because I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but I don't like where I sit, which is next to you, which has got nothing to do with it. I don't like the camera angle. I just, I like the camera angle that I'm doing here. I don't know. I feel more comfortable here.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, look, we can switch things up.
Whenever you're away and I sit in your chair and it's me and Ellie, I'm like, oh.
We can swap seats if you want.
King of the castle, king of the castle.
I'm happy to swap seats.
I don't know. I've mentioned it in the past and you were like, nah.
No, that was probably me just being like, no, this is my seat. I'm the dad of the family, whatever.
Alphaing it.
Yeah, but no, happy to swap, mate.
Hey, we can discuss it off here.
Yeah.
But Ellie is away. She's in LA for 2 weeks. So she's not here this week. She's not here next week, but we are going to hear from Ellie towards the end of the episode just to see what she's been getting up to. But on the podcast this week, I want to talk about gaming addiction.
Right, okay.
A little bit of a semi-serious chat just about stuff that's been going on in my life at the moment and just the overarching theme of gaming addiction.
Right.
And it's also part of the reason why we started this podcast of the negative stigma that's attached to gamers. A new study has come out, basically.
Oh, okay. So you've got some stuff around it.
That riled me up.
Right, okay. Because this is what, like, when you messaged me and you were like, gaming addiction, I was like, have I ever had a gaming addiction? I probably have, but I'm not able to distinguish between just playing it as a hobby and genuinely having an addiction.
Well, this is good because part of the symptoms that I came up, I was like, wait, I've been addicted to gaming since I was like 7 by this count of it.
Oh, God.
But we'll touch on that after listener feedback. But Chris, you want to talk about what you think should be included in a deluxe edition of a video game when you buy it.
That's right. So the only collector's edition of anything that I've ever bought was actually Halves with You on a collector's edition Xbox 360.
Xbox 360, yeah.
Gears of War 3 themed. It was red and black, and when you push the eject button, it made like the guitar riff noise. And going back, I mean, I probably wish we just got the regular one. And I've been looking at a collector's edition of a certain game, which we'll get into later on, and all the stuff that comes with it is just garbage.
Oh, really?
And I want to know, what do you actually want in a good collector's edition that isn't just plastic crap that's going to sit on your shelf and look kind of tacky?
Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll get into that very soon. But first, let's do some listener feedback. You can join us on our Facebook group, Extremely Casual Group for Extremely Casual Gamers. Or you can hit us up on our Instagram as well. If you don't join our Facebook group, but you should, you can hit us up, Extremely Casual Gamers Podcast. So the first bit of listener feedback I want to talk about, and I wish she was here so that we could get into more details and give her a proper round of applause. But Ellie, last week, she jumped on her stream. She does a lot of Twitch streaming. She played Fortnite for the first time.
That's right.
Which was amazing.
Because you guys have got a professional Fortnite tournament coming up, and she's meant to be...
Yeah, so Ellie and I are doing some part of the Spark Game Arena Live, which is happening in a couple of weeks, and it's all to do with Fortnite. So Ellie's like, I should probably learn about Fortnite. I should probably learn about this game that I'm going to be heavily involved in. And on her third game, she got a victory royale.
Right.
Which I think's fantastic.
That is fantastic. And I know that the days of Fortnite being full to the brim with gun players, it's not like that anymore. However, Ellie does not like any shooting games.
Yeah.
She doesn't like anything like that. So for her to even progress that far and get a massive dub, I mean, if I had 3 games right now, but I wouldn't be able to do it.
Oh, yeah. I can't remember the last time I got a solo dub in Fortnite.
Damn.
I don't want to burst her bubble by just going into the details of skill-based matchmaking and when you create a new account.
Oh, you put up against all the noobs,
all bots. As
yeah,
well.
all
but
bots.
I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna bring that up because I don't want to take anything away from Ellie.
No shit. No, the last thing you want to do is because she'll be stoked right now. She'll be in LA living it up. And if she listens to she's actually editing this one, isn't she?
She is. Last thing I want to do is humble her by saying,
yeah,
Yeah,
and sure. Right now, I could make a brand new account and probably get a dub straight away as well. But let's not have that be the theme of this amazing news.
She's not going to think that because we haven't mentioned it.
No, exactly.
Anyway,
let's applaud her anyway. But I'm going to do it sort of patronizingly. Nice work, Ellie.
Emma Foster, she jumps on our Facebook group. She says, "Kia ora, everybody. I'm fairly new to the podcast. Been listening for a few weeks. Does anybody have any recommendations for a couch co-op that I could play with my 6-year-old? I'm hoping to get back into gaming after approximately a 6-year hiatus."
Oh, the Gears of War trilogy.
Yes, precisely. That's what I suggested. Yeah, and she goes, and I'm looking for suggestions to play. I used to be a PC gamer, but I'm all ears. I thought this was really cool from Emma because obviously 6 years ago she had a kid and she's got a 6-year hiatus. So she stopped gaming because she had a kid. And that's, would have been a hobby that she enjoyed, especially being a PC gamer. So a lot of people jumped in. any of the Lego games.
Yes, that's true.
Lego games are pretty easy,
Yeah.
and they're obviously G-rated.
And you need, and because also 6 years old, that's pretty early doors to be hit with anything too complex.
Yeah.
So you don't want your child or your like getting frustrated while they're playing, you know?
No, and then there's building mechanics and stuff like that, so
Yeah.
that's cool. Overcooked, that's a fun game, but it can get pretty.
Don't play Overcooked.
It's pretty gnarly. Overcooked the first few levels is
It's
great
great,
because
yeah.
you're just cooking.
Yeah,
but then
and
like they move you up a level. It's like cool. Now your kitchen is in the sky by a hot air balloon, and every 3 minutes, part of the floor falls out.
See, exactly.
And,
Why would you be cooking in
like-
that situation?
Exactly. Who's going to take a kitchen up there?
I remember
So-
we did that as part of years ago as part of a live stream thing we were doing, a few mates of ours. And I think we got like 4 levels in and we were like, yeah, this is sick.
Yeah.
We got to about the 5th or 6th level and then we were like, yeah, let's play another game.
Yeah.
Because it's just way too hard.
It gets way too intense and way too overcomplicated.
That's right.
Gang Beasts was suggested. Gang Beasts looks fun, but it's actually quite difficult to play.
I haven't played it yet. That's
Gang
the
Beasts-
one with the
it's-
weird physics, right?
Yeah, and they're like sort of like floppy, like around, kind of like that game Party Animals that we
Yeah.
played last year, but Party Animals is easier to play.
Right.
Another suggestion, this was from Cousin Beck, Child of the Light, which plays out like a beautiful picture book with watercolor style graphics. It's not co-op from the get-go, but a few minutes in, you find the second character. That sounds fun.
And it's from Cousin Beck, so lock that in.
Exactly. But the most common one was get a Switch and get, Mario Party and Mario Kart 3D. So she's responded saying, hey, thank you for your messages. I'm looking at a second-hand Nintendo Switch.
Actually, that's a really good shout. Another game you can get, which is now on Switch, is The Witcher 3. So I'd recommend getting that.
Get 600 hours deep.
It's not co-op.
Yeah.
And it's R18, but I think the earlier your offspring can get into the Witcher universe, the more they'll sort of get out of it. I'd recommend that.
Okay, cool. Well, I've got an almost 3-year-old, so I might.
Daisy?
Yeah.
I'd start with The Witcher 2 for
Witcher
Daisy.
2?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Me playing and her watching, or her playing?
Nah, her playing.
Okay, cool.
And you not even watching you in another room.
Yeah, playing Farming Simulator. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's coming in from Shannon. Shannon Amy. Hey, found the podcast a couple months ago. She's from Manchester in the UK. Recently, I was reunited with a piece of my childhood. This was my Game Boy, which I
saw that.
thankfully kept in the box and gave it to a relative. It's now been given back to me, and I thought I'd share here. Now, this is a Game Boy Color Pokemon Yellow edition. I looked it up. It's valued at roughly $200 New Zealand.
Yep. So those ones there's a lot of, when you go down the sort of path of collectible Game Boys, there are a lot, like ones that only had 100 released or ones that were only given to employees of this certain company.
Yeah.
This one came to New Zealand too, which is great. It was like yellow on the front with the Pokemon logo and Pikachu, and on the back it was blue.
Yeah.
And I remember one of my best mates had this exact Game Boy, and I've seen a few of them pop up on Trade Me or eBay here in New Zealand. And yeah, $200-$300 for a real mint one in a box.
In a box as well.
I reckon $400 or $500.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I jumped on the Facebook group and I said, hey, everyone, just curious, like, what is the most expensive or most valuable piece of like gaming memorabilia or merchandise or anything gaming related? What's the most expensive thing you own?
Yeah, right.
A lot of people getting in. Natalie saying she's still got her old Nintendo 64. It's smart for me. It'd be my Gunblade from Final Fantasy VIII.
Sick.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people keeping their Nintendo 64s.
64s, for some reason, are right in the wheelhouse of people our age were kids when they came out. And that was like, for a lot of people, it was their first gaming console. It was one of the first ones to be in full 3D.
Yeah.
And there's like so many classics on Nintendo 64, like GoldenEye, Pokemon Stadium.
Banjo-Kazooie.
Banjo-Kazooie is great. Mario 64. There's so many amazing, iconic games that people have just held on to them.
Yeah.
We've got one behind us in the studio here.
it's
It's
wicked.
a Pokemon Stadium edition, which is probably worth a few $100 as well.
That's
So
awesome. Scott's written in with a picture. We showed us a picture of his Dragonborn statue from Skyrim, just under $1,000 at the time.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff there. So if you want to get in on that conversation, extremely casual group for extremely casual gamers.
What was yours?
My most? Is this actually? If you're watching us on YouTube, it's behind me. It's the Last of Us Part 2. Ellie playing the guitar figurine.
Oh, yes.
So that's mine. And that's probably the most valuable sort of piece of merch, memorabilia, whatever I own. I think it's valued like, I don't know, $180, $200.
I don't think I have any memorabilia.
Yeah.
I mean, the most valuable game I've got is probably, as you pointed out the other day, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on PlayStation 2, which is very hard to get. Other than that, maybe my Game Boys, I don't know.
That's the thing, like, my PlayStation 5 is worth more than the Ellie statue, but I feel like a PlayStation doesn't count.
Nah, it's lame.
But if you've got like a real cool high-tech PC rig that's, like $12,000, then I would imagine that counts.
Do you reckon, because I've still got my box full of PlayStation 3 and all of my games, and PlayStation 4, all of the games there. Do you reckon any of that stuff is ever going to be worth any money?
No.
You don't think? Because you know
not for a long, long time.
Not for 50 years, right?
Yeah.
And in the meantime, I have to cart around this giant box full of crap to every house I move to.
Yeah.
And explain to my wife that one day it'll be worth a lot.
And the thing is, the value of it isn't going to be that much. Like if you've got fresh off the press vinyl from Led Zeppelin that came out when it was released, and you've got it in its, in its plastic wrap and everything, and you haven't touched it. That was what, 60 years ago?
Zeppelin 4, especially, absolutely be worth a freaking bomb.
It'd be worth a lot now, but that means that you have to have held it for 60 years in like mint condition. And that's like a mint condition one. So yeah, I guess if you've got, but like if you've got a completely wrapped up The Last of Us, right? First release. First edition on PlayStation 3, and you haven't opened it, you bought it, and it's sitting there. That, you're going to be holding on to that for another 40 years before. Even then. Then you would have paid at the time $100, and when you sell it in 50 years, it'll be $500.
Yeah.
Is it really worth the time holding it?
I think there'll be certain games that came out and became famous and then left again, like real controversial games.
Yeah, maybe.
But otherwise, there's just been and now that most of them are available digitally as well.
Exactly.
It's just not worth it.
And I think what?
I just remembered I had Flappy Bird on my phone for like 5 years.
We must be on the same page because I was just going to say, and I think it's time for those people who've got Flappy Bird on their phone to give it up.
It doesn't work anymore.
It doesn't, it's not worth anything.
I remember because there was, I went on eBay and there was like phones with Flappy Bird still installed that had never been updated with the latest iOS update or whatever. So you could still play Flappy Bird, and there was like $10,000.
Crazy. Imagine you paid for it and then never got it because you got scammed.
I got scammed. It was the same lady down in New Plymouth.
Yeah. Well, that is it for listener feedback. You can hit us up on Extremely Casual Gamers Podcast on Instagram, or you can jump onto our Facebook group, Extremely Casual Group for Extremely Casual Gamers. Should we do some gaming news?
Gaming news! No dancing. Ellie's not here. Guys, stop dancing to the gaming news music. All right, gaming news. China's first AAA game release is hugely successful and hugely controversial.
Nice.
So Black Myth Wukong released this week. You've seen footage?
I've seen lots of footage. It sold like 1 million units or something.
Yeah, it's been incredibly successful, and as mentioned, it is China's first ever AAA release, which means it's the first ever release to have just like a massive budget behind it, a huge amount of marketing. So that's pretty exciting, and to think of the size and the scope of China, this is their first ever release. Hopefully it bodes well that we're going to get far more high-quality AAA games in the future. Yeah,
it's like greenlit all of these other projects that have been sitting there, and they're going, all right, well, let's see how this first game goes.
Yes.
If it's successful, then we'll greenlight all these other ones.
That's right. Yeah. A similar game was Stellar Blade, which I believe was South Korea's first ever AAA release, so that's pretty cool. It is based on a 16th century novel, Journey to the West, which is a famous novel that, hundreds of years later, a lot of stuff in pop culture, sort of derived from. Okay. So it's their own take on Journey to the West. It's a single-player action RPG. It has been hugely successful, $53 million in pre-orders alone.
Whoa.
Don't pre-order, by the way. Wait for it to come out and then fix all the bugs.
Wait for it 6 months.
Yeah, 6 months. Then play it once no one's talking about it. 4.5 million copies sold within the first 24 hours.
That's insane.
Considering this is a totally new company that's never released anything of this scope before, 10 million copies sold after 3 days, and in the opening 24 hours, it also broke the record for the most popular single-player title ever released on Steam.
That's insane. Wasn't there like I might be just pulling this out of my ass. Wasn't there on Steam concurrently 1 million players playing at once?
Potentially.
Yeah.
I think you've pulled that out of your ass.
All right.
But also, I didn't see that stat, but I'm assuming you're correct. The other thing that's been quite funny is tourism in the Shanxi province of China has skyrocketed because it holds many of the real-world locations that the game was inspired by.
That's cool.
So a lot of the set-piece scenes and things like that, in these big mountains and blah, blah, they're actual real places in China.
I like it when games do that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you can go and visit these places now, which is very cool. So that is the success of Black Myth Wukong. And can I just say off the bat, I've seen it. I'd be keen to play it once I've checked off 1 million other things on my list.
Yeah.
It is the kind of game that I think would tickle my fancy. Now to the controversial side of it.
Ooh.
They sent out a whole lot of review codes and things and, got streamers involved to promote the game.
Yeah.
Streamers revealed that a company affiliated with its developer had sent them a list of topics to avoid about while talking about while live streaming the game that include feminist propaganda, fetishization, and other content that instigates negative discourse.
Oh.
Exactly. And so you're like, why would we talk about that? And it's because a report came out in November by IGN alleging a history of sexist and inappropriate behavior from employees of Game Science, the studio behind Black Myth.
Ah.
So they've got a pretty checkered past, and as part of like, hey, here's your review copy, but you're not allowed to talk about any of this stuff.
Don't talk shit about us.
Yes.
And we'll give you this free copy of the game.
Exactly. So a lot of reviewers were like, okay, well, I'm not actually going to release it within the embargo window. I'll wait, pay for it, and just do free speech and just say the truth about everything. So it looks like a great game. It's very exciting that AAA gaming coming out of China is happening. But randomly chucking in all that sort of stuff there, it's just like, why aren't we allowed to talk about this stuff? What have you guys done?
To be a streamer, to get that information and be like, okay, I can't talk about this, and they go, okay, fine, I won't, and then they get to play the game early. I'm sure that would have gotten a lot of views. But then now this information's come out, showing that other people chose not to do it, and the whole free speech thing, and they are horrific things to talk about. The people that did it first, they'll look like dicks now. They'll be like, oh, okay, so you did it, but all these other people chose not to do it. Yeah,
I mean, it's such a spicy meatball, and I wish Ellie was here to talk about it. Because she's massive into fetishization. That's such a weird one. It's a game about controlling a monkey man with a stick.
Yeah.
Don't talk about fetishy stuff about the monkey man, I assume is what they're referring to.
Immediately, I started thinking of sexual things.
You do that with everything, guy.
Yeah, I do it with everything. 1.43 million concurrent players on Steam.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
There's a lot of people playing the game.
Congrats, Black Myth. Second piece of gaming news. Crash Bandicoot 5 crashes and burns.
Wait, what? There was a fifth one.
Developer Toys for Bob released Crash Bandicoot 4 It's About Time, which released in 2020, right?
Yep.
A recent report came out on that developer that there was, in fact, already in production a Crash Bandicoot 5, which would have had a crossover with Spyro the Dragon.
Ooh.
And it would have involved Crash Bandicoot and Spyro teaming up to take down the Bad Mask, who I think is Uka Uka.
Yep.
He was the villain, and Spyro and Crash would be able to warp into each other's worlds through portals and take down Uka Uka together.
Yeah.
How cool would that have been? The two, childhood classics from PlayStation, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot in one game.
Crossovers always work. Well, not always work, but they're very popular, yeah.
Absolutely, because they remastered Spyro on PlayStation 4, didn't they?
They did.
And they did the same with Crash Bandicoot. And so they were so successful. Putting those two together would have been an absolute dream. Ellie would have loved it. Spyro is one of her favorite games of all time.
Yeah, she said that one of her favorite things to do with Spyro was to mutilate the sheep.
That's right. Well, she didn't say mutilate. She said assault and left it open for interpretation.
Yeah, I thought mutilate was the word she used, but maybe it was a different one.
That's pretty gross. I remember thinking, what were you doing to the sheep, Ellie?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that has 100% been scrapped by Activision.
Oh.
Who are probably greenlighting some horrible loot box filled piece of shit instead.
Yep.
But hopefully they pick that up at some stage and you can have Crash Bandicoot and Spyro going against one another. That would be
That'd
cool.
Very cool.
And that is your gaming news.
I'm in a bit of a conundrum. Well, I don't know if conundrum's not the right word, but I just want to know your thoughts on something because, as I've mentioned the last few weeks, I've been playing Farming Simulator. That's the thing that I've been playing a lot at the moment, right? And what I've been enjoying about playing it is that I've been using my PlayStation Portal, the little handheld PlayStation 5 accessory that came out last year. It's the most I've ever used it because when it came out, I was like, cool, but then I just didn't put it. Just put it down.
Yeah, well, it has a specific use, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to tick certain boxes to actually use it.
Yeah, so the PlayStation has to be in rest mode, and then you turn it on, it connects, yada yada. But with Farming Simulator, I love the idea of I can just sort of pick up the Portal. I can play Farming Simulator for like 12 minutes if I've got a spare moment, turn it off, and go back to my farm back and forth. And
why 12 minutes? Are you taking a shit?
No. I haven't actually done that yet. I haven't been on the toilet playing the PlayStation yet.
It's just 12 minutes, a very specific number.
It was
like,
but I've been I think I'm a little addicted to Farming Simulator. And it's not that the game itself is incredibly gripping and there's no storyline. You just run a farm and you run it however you want and you can choose whatever difficulty. But I'm finding myself picking up the PlayStation Portal basically at any given opportunity. It's not like it's affecting, like, I'm not just neglecting my child, and it's not like I'm neglecting my wife or anything like that. It's just, it's my own time. If there's ever a moment where I've got time to myself that I could be used to tidying up the house, going for a run, doing something productive, I'm like just playing Farming Simulator. It's crazy. And I just wondered if there's I wonder if there is a correlation between just enjoying a game and thinking about it a lot and there actually being an addiction for it, because it is, according to the World Health Organization, it's called gaming disorder, like being addicted to playing video games.
Isn't that funny? Disorder.
Yeah, right?
Well, to be fair, when I think of a gaming disorder, I think of those people who and I've watched videos of, sound like a boomer right now. I've watched videos about them on the YouTube.
Yeah.
These people that are, gaming literally all day long. They're on their computer. They're playing who knows what multiplayer games. And they genuinely do have like an addiction and a disorder. What you've got there is something that happens to me on occasion when I fire up a game that is just so ticking all the boxes for me that it's all I want to do.
Yeah.
And so one thing that I've started doing in my life, which I started doing about a year ago, and it works wonders, is I go, all right, I really want to play this game. I've got this much. I've got 3 hours.
Yeah.
You might not be able to do this to the same because you've got wee Daisy there who will require some attention.
She started going to kindergarten.
Right, perfect.
So it's like on the other day when she was at kindergarten, there was all these things I wanted to do, and I spent playing 4 hours playing Farming Simulator.
See, that's probably too long.
Right? And I felt like a piece of shit at the end of it. I was like, what the hell? Like, I looked at the clock, I was like, I've got to go pick her up.
Yeah. You looked at the cock. That's weird. Anyway, so what I do now is I go, let's say I'm up and about. I've had breakfast and it's 8 a.m., right?
Yeah.
And you go, right, I have to be at work at, let's say, 12.
Yeah.
I'm pretty keen to play Farming Simulator. I will play that from 11 till 12 or even 10:30 till 12, whatever it might be. However, before I can play that, I need to tick off all this punishing shit.
I know.
So it's like, all right, I'll go for a run, I did this morning, sent a whole heap of emails, blah, 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 got it all done. And then it's like, boom, got all that done. Sweet, here's my reward. You have to, but whether you can do that or not.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Are you just playing Farming Simulator under the table?
No.
You weren't even listening.
It's like, yes, just harvesting some sunflowers right now. But no, I totally get what you mean. But there've just been times where I'll be like, I'll do the treat first. And I'll sit down. And Farming Simulator is one of those ones where I'm like, all right, I'll just harvest this field and then I'll switch it off.
And then you harvest that field.
And then I finish the field. I'm like, well, I should probably go and sell what I've harvested, right? It's just there's no meaning to the game per se. It's just once you finish a task, you get a small dopamine hit, and then you just create another task. It's not like as if there's a mission and it's linear and there's save checkpoints and stuff like that. It's just, it is always moving.
And there's always something, like a real farm, there's always something that needs doing.
And I'll sit here and go, okay, if I actually tick off, A, B, C, D, E, and I sit there and go, there's literally nothing to do, I'll find myself forcing myself to do something. It's real crazy. So I looked up, these are the signs of gaming disorder or gaming addiction.
Okay, according to
studies on the internet. This
Right.
isn't a chat GPT thing.
Internet studies, okay.
Thinking about gaming all or a lot of the time. Feeling bad when you can't play.
Do you feel bad?
No.
Okay, good.
Needing to spend more and more time playing to feel good. So if you're using it as like
I feel bad when I'm not gaming, and so when I'm gaming, it makes me feel better.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I don't think you're ticking any of those boxes.
Okay, cool. Not being able to quit or even play less.
I don't think you tick that box. I think you could if you had
Not
to.
wanting to do other things that you used to like.
Like what?
Well, that's the thing. Like, I mean, this isn't just gaming hasn't completely replaced it, but I used to do a lot of running.
But guess what, guy? Running sucks compared to playing video games.
That's
all right?
true.
That's
true.
why you got to have the treat afterwards.
Yeah, having problems at work, school, or home because of your gaming. Now that's
that's
me.
you. Oh, what?
Oh. Yeah, my studies have.
You've got no pants on, man. We're trying to do a podcast.
Playing despite having all of these problems, lying to people close to you about how much time you spend playing, and using gaming to ease bad moods and feelings, right? So these are all signs. But there's also more actual legitimate facts here. Estimates the study between 1 to 10% of gamers worldwide may be affected by gaming disorder. The most popular regions are Asia. South Korea, China, and Japan reported rates of 10 to 15% among young gamers. South Korea in particular has reported rates of as high as 14% among adolescents have got gaming disorder. And obviously, this isn't exactly that surprising. Males are more likely to develop gaming addiction than females. And the most popular game or type of games,
Online multiplayer.
MMORPGs, massive multiplayer online role-playing games, such as your Fortnites and your Warzones and stuff like that.
Well,
because
isn't it more like
that's more just
World of Warcraft and stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. It's more MMO is like a Fortnite.
Or like a League of Legends type game, yeah.
It's associated with gaming addiction due to their social and immersive nature. So I didn't know. Maybe I'm just being too harsh on myself, but I think it's because I've been thinking, in my times I've been playing video games, I'll be thinking about that particular game if I'm really enjoying it. Like Spider-Man 2, I'll be like, oh my God. Or Ghost of Tsushima. Last year I was like, I'm really enjoying that game and I'm looking forward to playing it again. But I think because games like that have a storyline and there's something to follow and sink your teeth into, it made sense.
But this doesn't for you.
Farming Simulator has no storyline. And I'm wondering, is it just wasted hours? But I am enjoying it.
Every video game is wasted hours. Let's face it. If you and I sold all of our video gaming stuff, and you were sitting at home and you were bored, holy shit, you would be doing so much stuff. A video game is wasting time.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly enjoyable. And after a freaking long day of work, or whatever you might be doing. Nothing better than just chucking on your headphones and just immersing yourself in something awesome, right? And even if it's simulating, it's fucking awesome.
I guess what I'm actually also thinking about is the fact that gaming is a hobby, right? And one of the main reasons I want to talk about this is on my wife's radio show this week. They found a study that said the top 10 hobbies that women find as an unattractive hobby. And on this list, there was things like gambling and taxidermy and hunting and like magic and collecting like figurines like Warhammer and stuff. So all these things that you expect, but the number one the number one thing that women do not like that their partners do is playing video games.
But
which is so annoying.
Well, it's annoying, but I have been around people in a situation where the male partner in the relationship was playing a lot of video games, and they had a young child together, and he literally was neglecting having dinner with them, looking after the kid, picking because all he wanted to do was play Fortnite or Warzone. So I think that right there is what a lot of people picture as being into video games as your hobby.
But the only difference is that that's the same with any hobby. Like there'll be guys out there that are not having dinner with their family and their kids and their wife because they're in the garage tinkering.
Hey, that's me.
And they'll be upstairs and they'll be gluing together Warhammer and stuff like that. But I think maybe just because gaming is more popular now, than it is collecting magic cards.
Potentially. And there is something and I guess that's why this whole podcast is all about, because it's funny, over the last year that we've been going, people ask me what I'm into, and I say gaming now, and I'm not even worried about it.
Yeah, totally.
You just go, oh, I love gaming. But then immediately people picture me up all night, headset on, yelling at my friends for 5 straight hours. You know what I mean? Or 4 on Farm Simulator. But that, to be honest, isn't how we game.
No,
we just do it when it's just us. If my partner wants to hang out, we'll definitely hang out, and I'll wait for her to go to bed or whatever it might be.
What it'll be is the immersion of it. It'll be online games, and it'll be playing with friends, and it's playing with the headset on. So you're just completely in your own world, and obviously with online games you can't pause them, so it's almost like that whole I'll be with you in 5 minutes when this game's over, instead of it being just if I'm playing Red Dead 2, I can just pause the game and go and do something. And if I'm taxiderming, if I'm in my garage and I'm stuffing a squirrel, and my wife comes in, she's like, what are you doing with that squirrel? I can be like, I can put it down, but I can't say, sorry babe, this is online. I can't pause it.
The squirrel's online.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. So
I think it's because they're online games. You're doing it with friends, and you're immersed with headsets. That's the negativity that's attached to it.
People get really angry and aggressive when they lose on online games.
That's true.
So there's a bit of that too. A lot of swearing and all that sort of shit. So I just swore. That's ironic. There's all these things folded in. But what you're going through right now with Farming Simulator, I went through last with ages ago with the City Building Simulator. City Skylines. For some reason, you just get hooked into this world, and your brain is even when you're away from it, it's thinking of ways that you can make things more efficient, or
it's the efficiency, yeah.
And you just want it to make everything as great as possible.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, that's how I should do it. And you get back in there. And so I've had this, the same thing happened with Elden Ring for me. When I was away from it, I was thinking how can I beat this thing, or what can I, that would work. And then, so I go through phases depending on the game where this happens.
I've harvested my sunflowers. Compared to last harvest, I've got 2 extra fields of sunflowers, and I've got them in my silo, and I'm waiting until March because they sell at a higher rate in March. But what can I do between now and March? So I got pigs, but then pigs aren't very efficient. So then I got chicken. Efficiency is the right thing to describe it, because I'm sitting there just trying to make the most amount of money, but there's actually no money involved. It's all just code. It's all ones and twos. There's no jeopardy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no.
So I'm not addicted to Farming Simulator. I'm just thinking about it a lot.
You're just right in the sweet spot right now.
Yeah.
But to be fair, you should probably still be running and doing all that other stuff.
I know, but I've got a bit of a sore throat.
Yeah, you actually sound different.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe put that off for like 2 weeks and just be full on Farming Simulator.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, okay.
All right, glad we talked.
By the way, if anyone else wants to comment on gaming addiction, whether or not they've got it, let us know. Extremely Casual Group for Extremely Casual Gamers, because I don't know. We don't know anything really.
No, we don't know.
We don't know what we're talking about.
I just looked up a study on the internet and copied and pasted it.
Guy, I'm thinking about buying a deluxe collector's edition of a particular video game. How does that make you feel?
I'm trying to guess what the game would be.
Mm-hmm. And as to why I would want it, knowing full well that my wife hates anything to do with gaming memorabilia in the house.
For the life of me, I mean, you can't buy Erd Tree as it's a DLC, isn't it? So you can't really buy a physical copy of that.
You can buy the Erd Tree edition of the original game.
Okay.
Which I'm going to buy.
Yeah.
But not the collector's edition of that.
What's the collector's edition? Hitman.
No, I've already got it. Oh, no, I've already got that. So this will explain it. Baldur's Gate 3
yes.
is only available digitally.
Yes.
Unless you buy the collector's edition from Larian Studios themselves for 139 New Zealand dollars, and they will send you a physical edition of the disc.
That's not actually too much.
No, it's not.
More than what you would normally pay for a.
That's right.
It's like 110 as a standard game nowadays.
And it's the only way to get a physical copy of it on PlayStation 5 on disc, which I, for some reason, like having.
Okay.
However, right now they are completely sold out, and they're doing another run at some stage, so I've signed up to be emailed when they're available, and then I'll order another run of them.
Yeah.
So with the deluxe edition, you get a Divinity item pack. Equip your party with an array of items inspired by the world and characters of Divinity.
Okay.
I hate that.
Yeah,
the digital gift.
I have no idea what that is.
A Bard song pack. Astound audiences by performing this special set of new songs.
Yeah, that's
once
nothing.
again in game.
Nothing.
Exclusive dice skin. So when you're rolling the dice, which is a mechanic in Baldur's
Yeah.
Gate, it's a different skin. It looks the dice like it's shit.
Nice.
Paintings from Revellon. Can I just clarify to anyone listening to this right now who has played a lot of Baldur's Gate and a lot of Dungeons & Dragons, and I haven't played any of it yet, so I don't know how to say Revellon, and I'm sorry about that. So there's some new paintings from across the Forgotten Realms inspired by Divinity, Original Sin 2. Why Divinity?
Wait, is that an in-game painting?
Yes.
Oh, cool. So nothing.
Nothing. You get an adventurer's pouch, receive a collection of camp supplies and potions to help get your journey started. In-game.
In-game? Okay, cool. Yep.
You don't get a little leather pouch in real life.
Oh, that'd be sick.
That would have been gangster. You get the digital soundtrack, so you can have all the songs from it. Once again, it's digital only, so on your PlayStation or something. A digital art book, not even a book.
Oh, my God.
That's right. And digital character sheets. However, you also get a poster, some stickers, a big map, a game box, which it comes in, and some patches to sew onto your shirt, and the game disc inside a PlayStation 5 case, which is all I want.
I'm glad that the difference in the 110 to 139 is not that much, because that is nothing.
No, exactly.
That's nothing. You get a couple of folded pieces of paper and some patches and some stickers.
That's
and
right.
And then a whole bunch of just code.
That's right.
It doesn't actually, I imagine, help you in the game at all. It's just cosmetic shit.
That's right. And so this is one of the things that I hate that has crept into video games. Like we were discussing with College Football 25, like the exclusive deluxe pre-order edition, you get 3 days early, even though they could release it to everyone. You pay way more money and they give you some special outfits. And it's just like, that is not a deluxe edition. That is just the game. Give us the game in its entirety and actually give us a cool box. Give us like some extra cool stuff. So I did some research into some weird collector's editions first, right?
Okay.
So the first one, Death Stranding.
Yeah.
You could get a life-size pod with a light in it with the baby inside it. And you could strap it to your person.
See, that, as weird as it is, it's still something, right?
Exactly. So
it's
that's
in your gaming room. Somebody goes, what the hell is that?
What is that?
You can explain it. And then instead of it being like, oh, it's a piece of code, and you have to jump onto my PlayStation to show you this extra thing I got. That's an actual physical thing.
That's right. And sure, you're going to look like a massive bell end with a baby strapped to your chest.
Could be a nightlight.
Yeah, it could be a
For when
nightlight.
you have a kid. I mean, it might traumatize them growing up with a glowing baby next to them, but
it'll keep the BTs away.
It will.
That's something out of Death Stranding. Infamous Second Son, they did in Italy only. If you pre-ordered at GameStop, you got 2 Red Bulls and a pack of glow-in-the-dark condoms. And their quote was, to refill your energy, then explode with pleasure. And I am not making that up. It sounds like Guy is working for GameStop marketing in Italy.
in Italy.
That is like, what are they thinking?
That's still something.
Yeah, exactly. There's still
Glow in the
something
dark
there.
condoms. That's awesome.
That's right. Enemy Zero. Now, you wouldn't have heard of this.
No.
It was a 1997 game on Sega. This was in Japan only, by the way.
Yeah.
If you ordered the collector's edition, a 1 meter by 1 meter wooden crate arrived at your house, hand delivered by the game's director. Now, you open it up with...
How many copies did they sell? That guy would have been so busy.
There was only 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fine.
So you crack it open with a crowbar. Inside was heaps of stuff like T-shirts and blah, 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 copy of the game. Weirdest stuff. There were two things that were very weird.
Yeah.
Firstly was a model of a corpse in game of the like bad alien things.
Yeah.
A dead one that had like fluid that if you pushed it, it oozed the fluid.
Mean.
So that's kind of like not something you'd
Imagine
ever want.
that in our studio.
That we pretty much got a little...
Stuff it into the...
Put it there. Put it in Ellie's seat while she's away.
Yeah.
And this one's super weird. When they promoted the game and it was at like gaming festivals, like, you know, E3 used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
You go along, you go to the area that was promoting Enemy Zero, and there'd be some hot girls wearing leather dresses and gloves. You could get one of the leather dresses and gloves as worn by the hot girls, previously worn by them at the thing, in the crate.
I feel like that's the only reason those crates were bought.
Yeah.
Like, the guy cracks it open, he's telling you about the game, and there's just some dude on his front step. You're like, yeah. Where's the dress?
Where's the dress?
Where's the dress? He's like holding like a glad bag to seal in the smell. He's like, yeah, where's the dress? Yeah, cool. He just like grabs the game, walks inside, and like the director's just there with the crate. Like,
doesn't even want the game.
do you want this squishy dead body thing that oozes?
So like once again, at least it's something genuinely above and beyond the normal game.
Different, right?
Probably too far though.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Guy, you don't have to agree with that. I knew it. This one's funny. There was a game called Rez on PlayStation 2, which was like a, have you seen those games where there's like a tempo and a song's playing and you can only shoot at the same time as the beats?
No.
So it was like a vibrator, like, and it used the DualShock 2 controller to vibrate at the right time to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They brought out this thing called a trance vibrator.
Nice.
Which was a vibrating sort of rectangle plastic pad, pad thing.
Yeah.
Let's say it's the shape slightly bigger than a matchbox. With a cord attached, you plug it into the Player 2 port of the PlayStation 2. And that way you wouldn't just feel the vibration in your hands. You could also put this pad anywhere on your person and feel the vibration then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, you know, people would have been putting them like under their armpits or like just like, you know, behind their knees or something like that, right?
They were stuffing it up their ass. So much so that the game's like the head of the game company came out and was like, "Oh, I guess I could see why people were using it for their own."
Imagine if that was
pleasure.
Released now on like PlayStation 5, because you know when you've got your PlayStation home screen and it tells you how many hours you've been playing that game. Somebody comes around to your house and like, "Oh man, you've played a bit of Fortnite, a bit of Red Dead. Why have you played 2,000 hours of Rez?" And it says you're only 1% through the storyline.
So that's, I mean, once again, at least it's something.
It's something different.
The collector's edition. So this one was a bit weird, but I guess like makes sense. Resident Evil 7. It came with a USB stick of a severed finger.
Cool.
That's just, you know, in theme. A little shoebox-sized replica of the Baker house, the Baker Mansion, which you spend the whole game sort of running around from. And then a thing that made the game 4D, a candle you lit while you were playing that would make your room smell like the Baker house while you're in there.
What's the Baker house smell like?
Probably horrific.
Oh.
You know, so like it's all set in this horrific mansion with this horrific family. And it's like a horror game, and you light the candle so you can smell what it's like to be in there.
A little bit of immersion.
That's right.
Yeah.
So like
It's
that's
different.
weird, but it's still a cool collector's edition item.
I got the, this was like over 10 years ago, I got the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection when I think they re-released them and it was like all on one disc. And it came in like a cool box and there's a, you know, like a pamphlet and stuff like that. But I've got it. I don't think it's in the studio, but I have had it in the studio. It's a little golden bullet.
Yes, I've seen
And
that.
it's
USB
it's a USB. And at the time it was like 4 gigabytes, which was like huge.
Yeah.
But at least that USB's handy.
Very handy to have. Although, you know, someone at work's, oh, have you got a USB? And you pull out a severed finger.
Yeah.
And you go, here, use this.
Yeah.
But so those are some sort of ideas around what not to do, going too far the other way. What I want to know is, what would you like with a collector's edition? Okay. So let's say in New Zealand here, a game might be 100 to 120 New Zealand dollars, or roughly around the $60 US mark, 60 to 80. And then let's say a deluxe edition is 150.
$150.
So more like 100 US dollars.
Yeah.
What do you want in there? Do you want, obviously you want a physical copy of the game. Do you want it to have a special case?
I want it to be in a metal tin.
I don't. Because you've got all your PlayStation games there and they look cool, and then there's one booty metal one.
Oh, true.
A tin with the game inside it, sure. But I don't want the actual case itself to be a weird metal one.
Oh.
Is that weird?
That's fine. It's preference. But yeah, I guess I just want bang for buck, and for some reason a metal tin one that's
like,
different to
quality.
a plastic one. I'm like, yes, that's
you can feel
money well spent.
Exactly.
There we go.
Do you want a figurine?
Yes. Although, would I use it? I mean, the Ellie one, that's about the only figurine that I'd think be worth it, really.
But also, like, you've got this amazing Ellie from The Last of Us 2 figurine, and the only reason you're using it is because you have a gaming podcast.
Before the podcast, it was just sitting in my shed.
Correct, because it's not the kind of thing that you just put up in your house.
No. If I had a gaming room.
If you had a gaming room, yes. Absolutely. That'll be cool. Do you want a poster?
No, I want a map.
Do you want a poster that on one side has like the main character doing something cool and on the back is a map?
Sure, as long as it's a map.
Why do you want a map?
Maps are cool.
No, but are you playing your game and then like pausing it and then, all right, where are we? Pull out the map. And you're like, oh, where are we going?
Sometimes, like, I just like to sort of look at the map to sort of get my bearings. You know?
You're sowing sunflower seeds. You don't need a map.
Honestly, if I had a farming simulator map, it'd be handy. No, when I played the first Red Dead, I remember the map that came with it, and I was just like looking over it. I was like, cool, that's where that is. That's where that is. It just, I don't know. I like the idea. When do you ever really look at a map nowadays?
No, never.
But it's cool to familiarize yourself and to be like, okay, so I'm here now. It's like, oh, there's an area over there. That looks fun. And so I feel like minimum a map.
I would like a very detailed map, though.
Yes, very detailed.
And not like a small A3 one, like a big one.
Oh, I want a big fold-out one.
With like, you know, drawings and little things all over it of where you can go and what things you could find. So let's say it's Elden Ring's map, and it could be like some hints of places you should go to and stuff like that. That'd be cool.
See, the reason I don't want to post it is because it's folded. And it's just creased.
It's all
like,
creased.
Who's putting up like the big square patchy creased posters, right?
You set your iron to the lowest difficulty and you iron it.
Really?
No.
Oh.
They'll ruin it.
No, guys, it's waxy paper.
It'll make it incredibly soggy. So do you want an art book?
No.
Like a book of the original drawings and things, the designs of all the characters?
No, I got that with Horizon Forbidden West.
Not into it?
Tossed it.
You tossed it?
I think so. Or it's somewhere in my house.
Right.
I was like, nah.
Yeah, okay. So you don't want an art book. I mean, to be honest, I don't know. Not really either.
Nah.
I can see the appeal. Like, for example, Pugs, who I work with at the radio station, he's got an original art book of Bloodborne, which is his favorite ever game.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's pretty cool to have. But certain games maybe, but otherwise, nah. Do you want a soundtrack on CD?
No.
No, neither. I don't. Last thing I want to be doing is listening to. Was guilty as charged. I probably would listen to the Witcher 3 soundtrack in my car on the way to work. But
have you done that with Spotify? Oh, you don't have Spotify. You got Apple Music.
Yeah.
But if you had the opportunity to do it, you would have done it by now.
Exactly. I'm not going to do it.
No.
The only one you'd do is potentially if you could get the Grand Theft Auto radio stations as listenable CDs.
Yes.
Like San Andreas and stuff back in the day.
That'd be awesome.
That would be sick. Some stickers.
Yeah. I'll take stickers.
Same here.
Yeah.
My first edition copy of The Witcher 3 when it came, the day one edition, which I pre-ordered even though I shouldn't have, came with a whole lot of stickers. I've still got them.
Yeah. Slap them on the back of your laptop, your books, whatever.
Yeah. Keen. Do you want a little journal to write your game updates in?
I've got a journal from 2 different games and I haven't used either of them.
Right.
I got a Uncharted one.
Dear Diary, today in Uncharted we did this.
Yeah. And it's like, it's like leather bound, but it's still like, it's just not very good.
So
it's
that's
like,
probably to emulate
the one that he's got. Yeah.
Nathan Drake's journal.
Totally.
Yeah. Sir Francis Drake's journal, sorry. Do you want to, how about this? This is an idea I had, like a ring that you could wear.
Yes, if it's cool.
Like a little chill, like for example, I was picturing a Witcher 3 one with the little wolf head, a little silver, pretty chill one, not full on, you know.
Yeah.
I'd be down for that.
I would, yeah, absolutely. A little bit of jewelry.
Do you want a key ring?
Yep. I got a God of War of Ragnarok one, and it's the little axe,
the Leviathan axe,
which was great, but it was like because it was a little axe, it kept on catching on my jeans all the time, so I had to get rid of it.
But when you tried to get rid of it, you threw it.
I
threw
threw
it.
To you. Yeah, and it just kept coming back.
Did you throw that away?
No, it's somewhere in my house.
I wouldn't mind that. Do you want a little badge to pin on your shirt?
No.
Oh,
I don't want badges, and I don't want things to sew into my shirt either.
Badges are coming back. Man.
Patches. Who's got the time?
Right.
Who's actually sewing patches? And if so, what do you do for a living? Because you could be doing something else.
You could be playing Farming Simulator.
Exactly.
Sort your life.
There's some sorghum to harvest.
Sorghum, I don't even know what that is.
Neither do I, but I harvest it.
How about this? A mug, like a coffee mug.
Yep.
A cool one.
Yep.
With your favorite character on. I'd love that.
Absolutely.
And every time I sit down, have a cup of tea and go to play my game, boom, have a mug.
Here's the thing for me. I just want practical stuff.
Yes.
I don't want cosmetic stuff. No. Like if a USB, stickers, a mug. I'd even eat off a bloody Last of Us plate. But if it's got some practicality to it, reusable practicality,
I'm
on board.
Like when you're getting the stuff made, you're in the marketing team, right? There is stuff, and I know this because I work at a radio station and I've seen it happen where you just go, no one's ever going to use this, but we'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
It's a shit key ring or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Scrap all that and just make it stuff that you can actually have on the shelf at home that isn't too in your face and stupid, or a beer mug I'd be down for. A t-shirt.
Yeah, I'd wear a t-shirt.
Yeah. Once again, not too over the top. Pretty chill. And this is one. Final two options here. I wrote no bonus content. I don't want anything, but I don't want an extra shirt that I get to wear because I got the deluxe edition. I don't want an extra mission that no one else gets. I want all that to just be in the game anyway. But I'd love it to include maybe the future DLC. When it comes out, you've got a code to download it.
Oh, yeah.
Because you've paid extra.
Totally.
As opposed to getting some bonus shitty content, you get the code for the DLC. When it comes out in a year's time, you can just download it, or it automatically downloads or something.
See, that'd be cool. Yeah. But I guess the price difference would have to, like, if you're paying an extra $30 on day one,
it might have to be like an extra $100 or something.
Yeah.
In which case, if it came with a mug and a t-shirt and a cool ring, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, probably.
What do you want in some bonus content when it comes to a deluxe edition? Let us know. The Extremely Casual group for Extremely Casual Gamers, and we'll feedback on that and listener feedback next week.
I want the vibrating pad.
We'll just leave that silence there.
Good. That wraps up another episode of Extremely Casual Gamers. Obviously, Ellie has not been here. If you're just somehow tuning in halfway through and you're like, where's Ellie? Well, she sent us a video. Don't worry, guys. It's not one of my videos when I'm away that goes on for like 7 minutes. This is a minute, okay? This is where Ellie is right now.
Hey, team. Hope this audio is good. Nice to chat to you / one-way chat to you. You're just going to have to listen to me for 5 minutes. No, I won't do 5 minutes. I'm currently sitting at Carney's. Oh, that's two of us. Just currently sitting at Carney's in LA. Just had a nice burger with me friends behind me. Having a lovely time. Hope you're all good. We're playing some Trackmania, of course. Also, the biggest thing I need to note, because I'm not there to talk about it, I don't know if you guys heard, but I won my 3rd ever game of Fortnite. Like, no big deal. So I just wanted to put that into the podcast history, just so you know that it happened. Hi, Sam. Sam's waving. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll see Sam there. But yeah, hope you're having a great week, everyone. I miss you. Sorry I'm not there. I hope the boys are behaving and they're not, talking shit about me. That's about it. Other updates in terms of gaming? Just Trackmania Turbo. You know us. Anyway, have a great week, and I'll pop in again next week. Bye.
Oh, that dragged on, didn't
it? Did. Like, even though it was shorter than one of your ones, it felt longer.
Yeah. At least mine's dynamic. No. She's at Carney's. I just looked it up. So she's on Sunset Boulevard.
Wow.
Yeah, like I love looking at the LA map and then just going like, now if I'm playing Grand Theft Auto 5, where's that? Because it's like basically the same.
Big shout out to Ellie, by the way, for sending us that recording from the middle of an interstate.
Yeah.
It was very loud.
Yeah. I said to her, when you send a video, can you please include road noise? So
was that you?
I'm glad that she added that in.
Yeah, right. Well done, Ellie. And she won't be back next week, but she'll be back the week after.
She is playing Trackmania, which was anyone could have called, but she's enjoying herself over there. What are you playing this week, Chris?
Guy, I'm going to open up about something that's happening to me at the moment. I am playing the DLC of Cyberpunk, and my character is so over-leveled and so completely specced out in every way that I'm not finding it fun anymore.
So this is the original character that you've been playing on the first Cyberpunk, and it's gone through?
I've gone through, and now I'm up to the DLC, and then once the DLC is done, I'm up to the final mission of the main game.
Do you reckon when they made the DLC, they were kind of anticipating people to playing it from day one so that they've got like a low-level character and it's like they're playing a game all over again?
Potentially, because a lot of the items I'm finding, because I'm early doors into the DLC, are like low-level items that I haven't seen in ages.
Yeah.
But like, and there's this new like perk tree that's opened up, and I was worried because I'd pretty much spent all my perk points and I'd fully kitted myself out, and I was at the highest level. I can't level up any further.
Yeah.
but you don't actually move up this perk tree using those levels. There's like a new special way to do it. So they've taken that into account so that if you are at max level, you can still play. But I'm just like, every room I walk into, I can wipe out 20 people.
No, so it's not as challenging anymore.
Nah, and like there's certain things you need to do. Like you got to have a certain amount of skill to get through certain doors. And I'm like max skill for everything. So I can just go through every shortcut. It's totally easy to do. And right now, I'm just playing it to finish the story and then finish the main game story too. I'm not even invested anymore, which sucks.
That does suck because you've been wanting to play it. You've been looking forward to play this DLC for bloody weeks.
That's right. It's the reason I bought the game. And so it's just one of those classic examples where the amount of content in the game and like the leveling system just doesn't quite match up with how much there is to do.
Yeah.
And it peaks out real early doors. About halfway through the game, I was pretty kitted out.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I'm pretty keen for it to finish so that I can get back to Hitman 3. Play a few levels of that before moving into something else like a Baldur's Gate or Shadow of the Erdtree.
Cool.
Yeah. And I started Pokemon Ruby at the airport over the weekend. That was fun.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's the first sort of PlayStation Pokemon game where I don't know everything off by heart. I don't know what any of the Pokemon are. I don't know where I have to go.
Is
I don't know
Goomy in it? Is Goomy there?
I don't know if Goomy's in it or not. I think Goomy might be. But like, it's the first game where it's like, hey, here's your 3 starting Pokemon. Do you want this piece of shit or that one or that one? And I'm like, I don't know. It's
starting Pokemon got shitter and shitter.
They did, man. Yeah. Like Blastoise, Venusaur, and Charizard was sick.
Like Totodile looks like a little scrappy like crocodile and looked like when you got like a Feraligatr.
Feraligatr, it looks sick.
Yeah,
but
awesome.
Even Meganium, who is the final grass one.
Yeah.
Boring.
Yeah.
Typhlosion is cool.
Typhlosion is cool.
And then, so I haven't played enough of the more recent Pokemon, so it's quite an exciting experience not knowing where anything is, considering I know how to do everything in blue, red, yellow, silver, and gold and crystal. So that's what I'm up to at the moment.
Cool. Well,
what are you doing?
Well,
are you going to go harvest some crops?
Well, I sold my pigs because they were just, the overheads were too much.
Yeah.
So I got rid of my pigs, and now I'm going to be a chicken farmer.
I love chickens in real life, by the way.
I'm going to be a chicken farmer, so that means I'm going to be needing to sow some wheat.
Right.
Yeah, which I've been...
Mix it with peas.
I've been exclusively sunflower.
Right.
But that's just purely for money.
Mix it with peas.
You can't mix it with peas.
Because for the feed, for the chickens, because it makes their yolks yellower.
But you can't, there's no peas.
Is there not?
No.
Thought this was Farming Simulator. What the hell is this? I saw that on Country Calendar last night. That's why I said that.
Nice. Farming Simulator, dropping some Helldivers, and then, I don't know, something else.
And going for a run and doing some other stuff.
Nice. That as well. Healthy things. Maybe I should just do 2 games this week.
Yeah. And before you go, talk us through your new tattoo, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Friday, I went and got a bunch of tattoos. So there's some that just, like I got a couple of rabbits fighting. And
yeah, you got your wife's name there, about time.
Yeah, about time. Got my wife on there. But I got the, if you watch us on YouTube, you'll see this, the original Game Boy. That's on my wrist.
That's the original Game Boy, not the color or anything.
No, the original, because that's the one I had. I had like the silver, like the grey one with the pink buttons. So I got that one.
Oh, yo.
Yeah. And then I got one of the Baseball Furies from the Warriors.
The Warriors, which is Guy's apparently favorite ever Xbox game, The Warriors, even though he played it and then it was shit.
It's an amazing game. Like, look, there's a Baseball Fury on the actual disc.
That's right.
And this is, while we're talking about deluxe editions, this is what you used to get standard. This is the booklet, right?
And this is a podcast we're on, so no one can see it.
This is a booklet, and it gives you all of the moves, and then also it tells you everything about every single gang in the game.
It's like a strategy guide, a mini one.
Yeah. That was just standy.
Yeah. I miss the days of a good pull out.
Yeah.
Booklet.
Yeah. So I did get some tattoos, and they're in the itchy peely stage right now.
Nice.
But that is us. If you want to join us on our Instagram page, Extremely Casual Gamers Podcast, and on our Facebook group, Extremely Group for Extremely Casual Gamers. We'll be back next week. Ellie won't be.
No, but we will.
But you will be as well.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.